Shalom, everyone, and welcome to this week's Israel Update. I'm Joseph Good from Hatikva Ministries. I live in Houston, Texas, and it's my pleasure to be with you today. Gila Trebich is joining me once again. Gila, who lives in Jerusalem, and many of you have been to Israel on tours that were guided by her. She's spoken there many times at GLC, and today, we're missing Roy Shaposhnik, who is from the military, and he's a deputy brigade commander of the Reserve Brigade with the Barak Brigade. And so, Gila, we're going to kind of carry it today.
Hi, everybody. Hi. It's very good to be on GLC, and glad to see everybody that's watching us. It's really wonderful. Let me just say that there's a last minute decision that the operation in Gaza. They call it a funny name. They call it Gideon's chariots.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not really sure. They wanted some other chariots, but they decided on Gideon's chariot. As far as I know, there were no chariots.
Yeah, no.
Gideon. But anyhow, that's the name.
So that is unusual.
Yeah, they just stepped up the operation today and went into a full phase and went into some other part of Gaza. And I'm sure that's why Ro'i is not with us. That's why he was delayed. I just hope that he's simply busy, and nothing else happened to him. So we all need to pray for the army. We need to pray for him. We need to pray for the Israeli soldiers that are fighting very, very seriously and very severely right now in Gaza.
You mentioned that the full-scale invasion is taking place, right?
Right.
Basically, how many units of the army are we talking about? I mean, you've got battalions, and several battalions make up brigades, but several brigades will make up a division.
A division. So a division includes a tank brigade, infantry brigade, artillery, and some other special forces that go with them. As far as I know, that's all open from the news. They say that there's 5 divisions now.
Oh my goodness.
Gaza. Maybe not full scale, but there's 5 divisions in Gaza right now.
Tremendous amount of the army.
I beg your pardon?
A tremendous amount of the Israeli army.
Yeah. It's a big part. Maybe to tell you a little better, if Corey, if you could show us the map, is that okay, Joe?
Yes, of course.
Okay, you can see. This is a map of Gaza. You have in the very north on the right, you have, it's written in Hebrew, Jabalia. Then you have next to it, Gaza City. Then in the middle, there's a blue corridor that crosses Gaza, and that's the Netzarim corridor. It separates the north from the south. That's the main purpose, because Israel wants to take over the entire north. And then, very important, all the way on the left is Rafah. And to the left of it is the Philadelphia corridor, which is the border between Israel and Egypt.
Yes.
To the right of Rafah is another important town, Khan Yunis, and that is where they just started fighting. Now, notice that everything that is in pink or red is under Israeli control. So Israel controls now more than 40% of the Gaza Strip. You see that the gray areas are still Palestinians. Now, I'm sure that you've heard some discussions about the humanitarian aid. It's very tricky because, of course, we don't want the people of Gaza to go hungry. Hunger is a terrible, terrible thing. We can't do that. But on the other hand, the previous round, Hamas used to get a hold of all the humanitarian aid and sell it at a very high price to the people of Gaza. Now, the idea is, can we just see the map one more time for a second? Corey? Thank you. Now, the idea is to have the humanitarian aid roughly where the arrow is, and even a little further south. So that will force the Palestinians that are staying in the north to go down if they don't want to go hungry. The first shipment was baby food. They brought 100 trucks of baby food. But the idea is to get everybody that's not Hamas, it'll be controlled, who's going south, from the north to the south part. And then you know that and people will come personally to get the food. It wasn't like, it's not going to be in big trucks just being
Yes,
spread
right.
and a whole truck being unloaded. But people will personally have to come and get the food. Thank you, Corey. Thank you.
Gila, now, with what you just said, before they would put all this food on the trucks, Hamas would immediately take over the trucks. And then they became the distributors, and that gave them power. Okay?
Exactly.
Now, by it being, as you showed on the map, with the location with the arrow, the people have to come to the south. And that they are basically trying to depopulate the north, so that they can go in and deal with all the Hamas bunkers and so forth that are located.
That's right, and actually take it over for all practical purposes. Take the whole northern part over, because that's the closest part to the majority of the Jewish communities that are around Gaza.
Right, like Ashkelon.
Well, the Be'eri and Kfar Aza and all of the kibbutzim and all the Kosad, all the communities that are there. The Tkuma, where we were, where Ronit lives.
Yes.
So that's where they are. It also has another major purpose. It is to take away the civilian control from Hamas. Because once you're controlling the food, people feel that they're in charge. And if you're taking that major arm from them, they're no longer in charge. And they're actually food is coming not directly from Israel, but from an American company that will distribute it. But it's not coming from Hamas. And that is super important.
Still talking about Gaza, but changing a little bit from where we're at right now. The hostages. Now, you told me right before we went on there that Sinwar had Mohammed Sinwar had been confirmed killed.
Right.
Now, my understanding from either you or Roy is that he was the one that was we can't give up the hostages.
That's right. That's right. He was the tough obstacle to having any deal about the hostages. So
I'm sure the hopes are high that the hostages will be released. And
that's the hope. That's the hope.
Yes.
The hope is that if Hamas no longer has a grip on the people will actually come and maybe give away the
locations.
The locations, yeah.
Very good. Very good. Now,
Yeah.
The last several days, the situation what is coming out in the press, and it's what I would put into the category of fake news and half truths. That the babies are being starved by Israel and in Gaza, and that no food is going into Gaza, that Israel is blocking the food from going in. Um, First off, the these, as you just said, the food is going in. They've got all this baby food, everything that's going in, and everything. But do you have any insight on where some of this horrible slander is coming from?
Oh, first of all, it's coming from Hamas.
Okay.
And Hamas, the information that comes from Hamas is not exactly reliable.
Right.
But the Europeans and all the anti-Semites of the world are very happy to spread it around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it'll be picked up by the liberal news services and so forth.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And they take it as as a word of God, that whatever Hamas says, that's the truth.
Well, now let me ask you something, and I might be getting too personal here, but here in the United States, we are divided very definitely between a right and a left, the conservatives and the liberals. And it's not just the liberals, it is the ultra liberals. Okay. And one of the things that has happened is that, of course, President Trump has the support of the right and the conservatives. And everything that he does doesn't matter how great it might be, how life changing and how a major problem. I mean, the border, the fact that the border was just people where there was no border. They just were coming in, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. And he, within days of taking office, he shut that down. But they've got all these criticisms, deporting. They criticize everything that he does. And in Israel, the country is there is a left and a right there. And what does that having to do with the war in Gaza?
Well, it's become actually very different. The country is divided between people who support Netanyahu, and there's another half that says nothing but Netanyahu, nothing but Bibi, anything but Bibi. I'm sorry, anything but Bibi. They don't care if they have a toaster as a prime minister, as long as it's not Netanyahu. And like in the last couple of days, we had some really preposterous occurrences because an ex-general who was the deputy chief of staff came out and tweeted, said that Israel, we have become now a country that murders babies as a hobby. Now, of course, immediately it appears in all the Arabic media,
of course,
in all the liberal media in the States and in Europe. And a similar thing was also announced by Ehud Olmert, who was our prime minister. Ehud Olmert was arrested and he was jailed for corruption, but of course nobody tells you that. Nobody tells you that he's an ex-criminal, but he was a prime minister, and he goes out and he spreads also these horrible things about Israel and about we're very close to doing war crime, and everybody picks on it, and it's just food and butter for any anti-Semite. Right. And a lot of people feel that the anti-Semite that killed the couple in DC, the two diplomats, we're getting a lot of strength and a lot of feeling psychologically support. Hey, Israelis are saying that. So why shouldn't we?
Yeah, yeah. We have here in the United States, and I know Europe also, that anti-Semitism is at its highest level since the Holocaust.
Right.
And uh, after these statements came out, I want to reiterate the man that the ex-general is
Mm-hmm.
also the ex deputy chief of staff. He's not deputy chief of staff right now. He's
No,
not
no, no, no,
serving
no,
back
no, no,
capacity.
no. He's older, retired, and um, that's it.
Yeah.
And he's running a political party.
Right.
He's running a political party that's called the Democrats, and they will be competing. He's in the opposition. He's not even in the Knesset, but he's very strong in the opposition.
Okay. So these statements got made, and within 24 hours, the United Nations was in an uproar. Europe was in an uproar.
Absolutely.
The anti-Semitic
Absolutely.
organizations here in this country and on the campuses, the universities, the demonstrations, all of this is just being fed by these comments that are coming out,
Right.
and
Right.
people
As
need to
if it
know the
needed,
truth.
as if it needed to be strengthened. As if there's not enough anti-Semitism on its own. So
Right.
they're feeding it even more.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the today there are people have made this statement about the individual that shot the two at the Jewish Museum in Washington D.C. That it in many ways it hurt the side of Hamas because he was making the Free Palestine statements and so forth. However, one of the horrible things is when someone makes a comment in the social media, it seems to be immediately attacked with all kinds of, they are treating this individual as a hero, not as a
Oh,
villain.
of course. Yeah.
So,
Just it's just the same good old thing. This hatred of Israel. It's as old as history.
well,
Hatred of the Jewish people.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to begin
Oh.
with, that this is far from what we're told in the scripture.
Right.
Whether you're talking the Tanakh or the New Testament, they do not. We are to stand by Israel. We are to support Israel. We are to stand against any accusations against Israel, and we need to be ready to. We need to be like against the Amalekites in the book of Exodus, when they come out to fight Israel, and Moses holds his arms up as long as he can, but Aaron and Hur got on each side. That's the role that we need to take, and that's why we have the David is specifically to not only to supply the equipment for the soldiers, but also supply, hey, we're here with you.
Extremely important and greatly valued and greatly appreciated. And they'll be recruiting more reserves now. So you'll need more equipment for them.
Right. We do want to, I'm not ready to go to, usually at the end, we really talk about, supporting the David Fund and what the money is used for. But I want to mention it now that that your support, it directly goes to the Army, and in particular, the soldiers that we're trying to help right now are in the Reserve Brigade of Barak. And, when I think of reserve here, I'm usually thinking of in the American Army, men that are in their late 30s and so forth. Okay. But the reality is that you go into the Army right out of high school, uh,
Right.
18, 19, and 20. And for girls, they go 2 years. Now, the
Hmm.
boys, when they come out, they are in the reserve. I think it's till 35 now, isn't it?
Oh, more. It was until about 40, and they're probably going to extend it.
Yeah, to higher up. Yeah. But the
Right.
reality is that there's not enough money in the Israeli budget to conduct this war and to outfit uh, totally all the soldiers, and that's where we come in. We're trying to
The reserve
the
soldiers,
reserves
and
or lack.
the numbers of the reserve soldiers
Oh yeah,
are more and beyond anything that we have ever experienced before.
right. And generally, the wars in Israel are short term,
Right,
and but this has
right.
been going on how many months now?
Oh, it's more than a year and a half.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
over 18.
it's getting longer than the War of Independence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, uh, okay, Gila, uh, let me ask you: do you know any other current events that are happening that we need? I like in Judea, Samaria.
Well, there's constant fighting in Judea and Samaria.
Uh
They
huh.
actually almost completely wiped out the what was called the refugee camps of Jenin,
Yeah,
and further north as well.
I have a question on
There
Janine.
was, I beg your pardon?
I have a question on Janine.
Okay.
I understand that there was a delegation, an international delegation of officials that were visiting Janine. It was an
Oh,
approved visit, and they had a path that they were to walk. That
mm,
there was an assigned. This is where you will go, and they ventured off of that, and so they went off on their own, which is
mm.
bound to get you in trouble anytime. And the Israeli soldiers saw that they were heading into an area that was not safe for them to be, and they fired warning shots over their head. Now, one of the bad things we've had happen here is that people with their phones take videos,
Right, right.
and it does not show accurately what's happening. And
Well,
so,
it's
yeah,
always out of context. They always choose one particular moment
right.
that fits their agenda.
That's correct. And that's
Yeah.
what happened here. But actually, what really occurred is that the protocol is that anyone that goes off of this path, a warning shot will be fired to warn them so they can return to the correct path.
The path, yeah.
Okay. But that's not how it came out in the news over here.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Okay.
But anyhow, so there is that. It doesn't stop all terrorism.
No.
Just a few days ago, a terrorist shot a woman and her husband. She was on her way. Oh, we spoke about it already last time. She
But
was on her way to have a baby.
is the
So
baby still alive?
the baby is alive, but in serious condition.
Yes.
And still, we still need to pray for him. Uh, so that's the story. Now today, I haven't read all the details yet, but I know that there was quite a bit of bombing in Lebanon.
Oh, really?
Israelis, yeah, in the Bekaa Valley, right, which is north of
Yeah.
Israel. They probably saw that there were people working for Hezbollah, bringing in missiles and bringing in all kinds of ammunition that they were not supposed to bring,
Right.
and that's what's that. That's how Israel responds. That's it. Now there's no tolerance, nothing. Whoever is whoever breaks the agreement, Israel fires.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Right. That was one of the mistakes before
Right.
the October 7th, that we try to tolerate, we try to live with it, and it developed into a monster.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's been the case for 4 years. The United States didn't respond to stuff, and you try to be tolerant, and the reality is that that an enemy will use that time to
Right.
prepare and to really hurt you.
Right.
Okay, Gila, do you have anything on Syria very quickly?
It just, there's different projections on what will happen in Syria.
Right.
Because some people are saying that the regime there will fall very soon. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. But I haven't heard anything about the Israeli army doing, specifically doing. They're there. The army's there and on guard. But I haven't heard on anything. There wasn't in our media. There was nothing in particular that was happening in Syria. The attention is mostly on Gaza.
On Gaza.
Yeah.
Well, once again, the army is fully committed down in Gaza. Many of the soldiers are ill-equipped. We need your help. We need to purchase and pay for the bulletproof vest and helmets. And so please, if you pray about helping us, go to JerusalemTempleStudy.com/David Fund, or the little icon in the corner. You can scan it and you can make a donation. Every donation you make goes to the army, goes directly to the Barak Brigade, and it is payment for these items. Okay. Also, that if you hear any of the things that we've been talking about, the comments that people make, I pray that you will have the information to give. That's not the truth.
Right.
We need to stand with Israel. Okay. All right. Gila, thank you again. All of you.
Thank you. Thank everybody. Thank everybody of GLC. You're incredible. And we'll see you next time.
And Roy will hopefully be with us next week. All right. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.